Let me say something that might feel uncomfortable as usual. If you are a high earner into this world and your entire life depends on your next paycheck, oh, wow, you didn't build security. No, you probably know it. No, you didn't. You built dependence because that job that feels stable today might be until it isn't. Layoffs. I mean, these days they even send warnings, but they don't tell you they're coming. Markets, they don't ask for permission. They just down and up. The question isn't, will I be fine as long as I keep my job? Because that job, the real question is, if this job disappeared today, how long would I last? Before we jump in, as you know, it's hot and spicy in here today. My name is Desire. If you're new here, welcome. I am super happy you're here. I'm a Harvard-trained ex-Wall Street professional helping real people take control of their money. I love to talk about money, especially from a structural, systematic perspective. Not just about how you can earn more, but really how to design a life in a way that you aren't trapped by your life. You are designing your life. You are in the driver's seat, okay? Shall we jump in? Let's go. Now, let's draw a baseline of maybe what about $150,000 a year might look like. As you know, we always ground these in real life numbers, everyday numbers. So let's say you earn $150K a year. That's amazing, okay? And after federal taxes, state taxes, payroll, all of the deductions, you are going to sit somewhere between, $100,000 to $115,000 net income, depending on the state that you live in. So let's call it an average of 110 net is how much you bring in. That's how much hits your account. Every month, you would get about $9,000 in your account every single month. But here's the uncomfortable part that you don't want to hear. Most people earning this amazing amount spend almost all of it. You heard that right. Most people earning that amount of money spend all of it. Not because they want to, but because they've designed their lives in a way that has expanded to meet their income. They may not even know it. It may just be happening. So structurally, they're still very dependent on the next paycheck. And if the next paycheck doesn't come, then they are crippled. And it's not because they want to, but it's because they haven't taken time to design their lives in a way that fits, okay? So let's talk about designing your life to live below your identity. So if you actually want to save yourself, which is what we want to talk about, how to save yourself today, the first move is very simple. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's simple. Okay, how about you live on half of your income? So if you make $150K, design your life in a way that you live on around $70 to $80K, which is still a huge number, okay? That's roughly about $5,000 to $6,000 per month. It's still pretty decent. And before you say, oh, that's extreme, that doesn't even cover my rent. Let's be clear, millions and millions of households in the US live their entire lives on that number or less, okay? So, and I'm talking gross, okay? Gross income. This is even net. So this is not deprivation. This is not desire. Why are you being extreme? It's discipline. It's actually possible because what you can do if you did that is powerful. You are then creating a gap between how much you're earning and how much you're spending. A consistent, repeatable gap in what you earn and what you need, what you expend, what you spend. I know it sounds like it's rhyming, but no, we're really creating the gap that would save your future. And you might ask, what is my next move? The next best move is to build a war chest. It sounds violent, but no. Let's face that you commit to saving about $4,000 to $5,000 a month. You're probably like, I don't even save $1,000. Okay, but let's say you commit to saving $4,000 to $5,000 a month. You're now looking at about $50,000 to $60,000 a year. Now we're no longer talking about saving. We're talking about building that capital. really stacking up on those coins, because in 5 years, that is 250 to 300K in contributions alone, in just the money that you're putting in, the capital that you're diverting. Woo! That's okay. Woo! That's really good. Now let's layer in some modest returns, okay? If that money, you invested that money and it grows even at a modest average rate of about 7% annually, after 5 years, you would then looking at roughly 290 to 350K, depending on how consistent you are and the timing of the market, because macroeconomics, right? But that's a pretty solid number, even at 300K. And this is not theoretical. This is just straight up math. This is just like what the numbers are going to be. Now, your situation will fundamentally shift. Your situation will fundamentally be different, okay? Because you're no longer starting from zero. You now have a war chest of 300K that you're sitting on. Ooh, that is power. That is comfort. That is just like, relief. Okay. And then your third move, because I'm moving quickly along, is to make that money work for you. Make that money produce just the way you are producing by going to work every day. That money should produce. So you're not the goal isn't just to stock up that money and put it in the savings account. No, because why would we would do that? The goal is to make that money start working for you, because that money should answer to you. $300,000 sitting idle, first of all, you listen to desire, so why should you? That's not freedom. You need that money to be deployed intentionally. That is really where the real muscle and the power is. So let's say that capital begins to generate conservatively, even lower than 7%, let's say 5% annually. That means you're making about 15K per year. Wow. Wow, that's over $1,000 just in residual income monthly. At 7K, that means you're making 20K a year, almost 2K in residual income monthly. Wow. Now think about that for a second. Without touching your job, you have created a second income stream without even doing anything. It's not even taking your time. That money is just doing what it's doing, and you're just collecting the benefits of that. And that number will keep compounding. Compounding is the seventh wonder of the world. And you wonder why. Because guess what? You're still adding to it. You're still building. You're still stashing away capital. We just cut it off at 5 years. You are still growing the base, because I trust that you would. Because positive reinforcement has a way of resetting our lives and resetting our brains. It's really getting from that 0 to 300K. Now, let's talk about what that actually buys you, because this is where people can miss the point. And I want you to come a little closer. Do not miss this. This isn't about quitting your job in 5 years. If you want to quit your job, I won't be the one to tell you not to. But this is about changing your position, changing your posture, changing your negotiating power. Because now a layoff will just be an inconvenience. It won't be a crisis. You won't be in over your head. A bad boss, you will just decide, am I going to tolerate this guy? It's not optional. A career move, it now becomes possible. You can decide, you know what? I could do that, because now you have bought time with all your stash, and you didn't even give up a penny for it. You've bought flexibility. You have bought the ability to make decisions without panic. Ooh, kudos to you. Kudos to you. That puts you to bed, at least a bit. And that's what financial security can look like, can feel like. It's not your salary, because your salary, someone decides when and whether or not you get paid. But the option that money just reports to you on any given day, it doesn't matter. That is power. Now, the reality check, okay? Let's be honest with ourselves. I'll be lying to you if I said that this didn't require trade-offs. It does require trade-offs. You won't upgrade your lifestyle every year as much as you want to. You wouldn't say yes to every convenience, so you might have to cook a little bit more. You will not live your life like your full entire income is available. Okay, so I just want to be real. But you will be building something most people never do: independence. And I love something that Dave Ramsey said, that if you're willing to live like nobody else, you will live like nobody else. Because most people, they increase your income. Yeah, because most people, they increase their expenses. They increase their obligations at the same speed or even faster. And so they stay stuck, dependent on that paycheck. And a layoff is a crisis, just at a higher level. It's not even a higher crisis, but you're smarter. You're going to do better because now you know that if you could create that margin for long enough and stack it away, it's painful, but it's discipline. Then you can buy a life that, maybe a lot of people don't actually have access to. Now, if you don't take anything from this video, I want you to take this. Your income does not determine your freedom. Your paycheck doesn't do much for you. Your structure is what does, because at $150,000 a year, you can either build a life that depends on you working forever and not having time off and being dependent on that paycheck and somebody else calling the shot. Or you can start to build a system that eventually, if you play your cards right and hopefully everything goes well, that life can begin to work for you. Because at the end of the day, nobody, definitely not Donald Trump, nobody's coming to save you. And no, your job is not guaranteed, except if it's your company. And even then, hopefully you didn't raise money. No company is forever loyal, except you created it yourself. But even then, that can be, questionable. So now the question becomes, are you going to wait? Or are you going to save yourself? Because like I said, ain't nobody coming to save you. So if you are ready to take your life seriously, take the bull by the horn, if you're ready to jump into the driver's seat of your life, well, sit with your paper and your pen and design that life so that in 5 years, you can be sitting pretty too. And I'm not even talking about your 401k here. I'm talking about money that you actually have access to before you're 60 years old. Because when you're 60, I don't even know how you're gonna be able to spend it. But we're talking about active life right now that you can direct, okay? Now, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section because that's what we do. Have you ever even thought about what you could empower yourself with in 5 years? Here's where you are. You're making 100K, you're making 150K, you're making $200,000 a year. Have you ever thought about what that can look like in 5 years if you decided to live like nobody else? Have you thought about creating that extra source of income so that you just sit on your butt and you make $2,000 extra a month? Because that is just incredible. That's amazing. Not a lot of people can brag about that, and we're using modest returns. If the markets did better, if you're able to put away just for a little bit longer, so you don't do 5 years, you do 7 years, then you're talking about much more just coming in residual income every single month. Because why not? Well, if you love content like this, do well to subscribe, brag about it, subscribe to the community, and let us have your thoughts in the comment section, because why not? I love to yap, but I also want to hear from you. How have you thought about it? What have you put in place to empower yourself in 5 years, in 10 years, to design a life that maybe gives you a little bit more peace of mind? And so you're not rushing to that computer at 8 a.m. And even then, you might even work from home, which is great. But you're hopping on the road, trying to go report to a boss that you don't even like, but you're not doing anything about it. In 5 years, you're still in the same position or maybe even worse off. Now, you listen to me. So you're not going to do that. Are you even designing a life that you want? You might not be there yet now, but the best time to start was yesterday. The next best time is now. So if you aren't thinking about it, here's your cue. Go back, sit down, put pen to paper, and make your numbers work for you, because they can. And yes, here is where we say goodbye for today. We draw the curtains on today's episode. I will be back just next week, so you're not going to miss me for too long. And I want you to subscribe. Please, it's free. Subscribe, turn on the notification bell, share, like, and just let's yap it out on this channel. Thank you so much for everyone that watches me consistently. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.